Hello and welcome to Daily Prelims Practice. Here we will take up MCQs based on important news and article from The Hindu and Indian Express newspaper. Topics for today's discussion are displayed on your screen. Let's begin the discussion. The first question of today's discussion is based on this news which featured on page number 1 of The Hindu newspaper. News is about recent reshuffle in the Central Council of Ministers in which government removed Kiren Rijiju as Law Minister and appointed Arjun Ram Meghwal as his replacement. Now the Council of Ministers and details related to it both at the central level and state level have been a recurring theme in UPSC Prelims examination. As in 2013, UPSC has asked a question based on provisions related to the Council of Ministers, Union Minister and the Prime Minister. So let's take up today's practice MCQ. Question says, with reference to the Indian Constitution, consider the following statements. You have to identify the incorrect statements. Statement 1 says, it makes, that is, Constitution makes the advice of the Council of Ministers binding for President of India. Here we are talking about Central Council of Ministers. Now this statement is correct. As if you will look at the Article 74 subclause A, it says that there shall be a Council of Ministers with the Prime Minister at the head to aid and advise the President who, that is, President, shall in the exercise of his function act in accordance with such advice. So this term shall makes it binding on the President. Statement 2 says it mandates that the total number of ministers in the Council of Ministers shall not exceed 15% of the total number of members of the Parliament. Now this is an incorrect statement. As if you will look at the Article 75 subclause 1A, it says the total number of ministers including the Prime Minister in the Council of Ministers shall not exceed 15% of the total number of members of the House of the People, that is Lok Sabha. While our statement says that total number of members of the Parliament, which includes Rajya Sabha also. Statement 3 says it defines collective responsibility of the Council of Ministers to the President of India. Now this is again an incorrect statement. As if you will look into the Article 75 subclause 3, it says the Council of Ministers shall be collectively responsible to the House of the People and not to the President. So as you had to find the incorrect statement, our answer would be B, that is 2 and 3 only. Answer for this PYQ is B, that is 2 and 3 only. Our next question is based on this news which featured on page number 2 of The Hindu newspaper. News is about recent opening of Partition Museum in the Mughal era Dara Shikoh Library building in the city of New Delhi. Now the timeline of freedom struggle is pretty much important from the perspective of UPSC examination. And in that, late 30s and the decade of 1940s is even more important. Several events led to the independence of India as well as the partition of India. As you can see here, in 2016, UPSC has asked a question based on Cripps mission and its objectives. So let's take up today's practice MCQ. Question says, with reference to the history of Indian freedom struggle, consider the following statement. You have to identify the incorrect statements. Statement 1 says, the Mountbatten Plan mentioned independence for the princely states with the option to join either India or Pakistan. Now this statement is incorrect, as the Mountbatten Plan, which came in the year 1947, had several important declarations. One was related to Punjab and Bengal legislative assemblies that would meet in two groups, that is Hindus and Muslim, to vote for partition. Next important point was independence for princely states, which was ruled out, and they were given option to join either India or Pakistan. The second statement says the cabinet mission plan envisaged federal structure for India with a strong center having residual powers. Now this statement is again incorrect, as the cabinet mission which reached Delhi in the year 1946. The mission recommended for Constituent Assembly to sit together to formulate the Union Constitution. A common center would control defense, communication and external affairs, while a federal structure was envisaged for India and the provinces were to have full autonomy and residual power. Now the third statement says the cabinet mission recommended formation of Constituent Assembly based on direct elections. Now this is again an incorrect statement. As cabinet mission recommended for 3-tier executive and legislature at provincial, section and union levels, the Constituent Assembly was to be elected by provincial assemblies by proportional representation, that is voting in 3 groups: general, Muslims and Sikhs. So as you had to find the incorrect statement and all the statements are incorrect, our answer would be B, that is 1, 2 and 3. Answer for this PYQ is D. Our next question is based on this news article which featured on page number 8 of the Hindu newspaper. Recently, the World Meteorological Organization, that is WMO, has released its yearly update on its forecast for temperature trends over the following 10 years. Now, UPSC has been asking questions based on important organization, especially related to environment conservation and climate change. As you can see here, in the year 2016, UPSC has asked a question based on trade related analysis of fauna and flora in commerce, that is traffic. So let's take up today's practice MCQ. Question says, with respect to World Meteorological Organization, consider the following statements. You have to identify the correct statements. Statement 1 says, it is a non-governmental organization which work as a forum for exchanging weather data and research. Now this statement is incorrect, as WMO originated from the International Meteorological Organization, that is IMO, which was a non-governmental organization, that is an NGO. It was founded in the year 1873 as a forum for exchanging weather data and research. Proposals to reform the status and structure of the IMO culminated in the World Meteorological Convention of 1947, which formally established the World Meteorological Organization, that is WMO. The convention entered into force on 23rd March 1950, and the following year, that is 1951, WMO began operations as an intergovernmental organization within the UN system. So initially it worked as an NGO, however later it evolved into an organization within the UN system. Its headquarters is in Geneva and India is a member of WMO since 1949. Now the second statement says, a report that is the status of world climate is published by the WMO. Now this statement is correct, as the status of world climate along with greenhouse gas bulletin are published by the WMO. So as you had to find the correct statement, our answer would be B, that is 2 only. Answer for this PYQ is B, that is 2 only. Our next question is based on this news article which featured on page number 8 of the Hindu newspaper. Now, author of this article talks about why it is important for India to tread cautiously at multilateral engagements. In this news article, author has mentioned several multilateral forums like SAARC, Quad, SCO, G7 and G20. Now, UPSC has been asking questions based on important multilateral engagements and organizations of which India is a part. As in 2019, it has asked a question based on details related to Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, that is AIIB. So let's take up today's practice MCQ. Question says, consider the following statements. You have to identify the correct statements. Statement 1 says, India is a founding member of Shanghai 5, which is precursor to Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Now this statement is incorrect. At present, there are 10 members of the SCO, that is Shanghai Cooperation Organization, namely Russia, Mongolia, China, India, Pakistan, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, and recently Iran has been given approval to be added as a member of SCO. SCO came into existence in the year 2001 and initially it was an initiative of Republic of Kazakhstan, China, Kyrgyzstan, Russia, Tajikistan and Uzbekistan. However, prior to 2001, all of the above countries except Uzbekistan were member of Shanghai 5, which was a political association. India and Pakistan have been granted status of member state in the year 2017. However, they attended their first session in 2019. So now the first statement is incorrect, as India is neither the founding member of Shanghai 5 nor is the founding member of of SCO. Statement 2 says, except China, all the neighboring countries of India are the member of South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation, that is SAARC. Now this statement is again incorrect, as here in this map you can see the SAARC countries, which includes Afghanistan, Pakistan, Nepal, India, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka and Maldives. And here in this map you can identify the neighboring countries of India, and if you will compare it to the SAARC membership, you will find that along with China, Myanmar is also a neighboring country which is not a member of SAARC. So as you had to find the correct statement, our answer would be D, that is neither 1 nor 2. Answer for this PYQ is A, that is 1 only. Our next question is based on this news article which featured on page number 10 of The Hindu newspaper. Now in last month, the Reserve Bank of India came up with a regulatory framework for banks to accept green deposits from customers. Important action and initiatives and roles of Reserve Bank of India has been a recurring theme in UPSC Prelims examination. As you can see here, in 2012, UPSC has asked a question based on RBI's role as Bankers Bank. So let's take up today's practice MCQ. Question says, with respect to RBI's framework on green deposits, consider the following statements. Statement 1 says, green deposit is an interest-free deposit and the proceeds are allocated towards green finance. Now this statement is incorrect, as the framework defines green deposit as an interest-bearing deposit and not interest-free deposit. Statement 2 says the framework is applicable to small finance banks and regional rural bank. Now this statement is again incorrect, as this framework clearly demarcates that to which entities these instructions shall be applicable, and these entities would be collectively referred to as regulated entities, that is REs, and this include scheduled commercial banks, including small finance bank, which excludes regional rural banks. It also includes local area banks and payment banks. It further says that it includes all deposit-taking non-banking financial companies registered with the Reserve Bank of India under the Reserve Bank of India Act of 1934. Now statement 3 says, proceeds raised through green deposits can be allocated towards hydropower plants larger than 25 megawatt capacity. Now this statement is also incorrect, as this framework provides a detailed guidelines about the proceeds and where they can be allocated. And under this list of the proceeds, you can see that it cannot be allocated for hydropower plants which have a larger than 25 megawatt capacity. So as you had to find the incorrect statements, our answer would be D, that is 1, 2 and 3. Answer for this PYQ is D, that is 1, 2 and 3. Our last question of today's discussion is based on this news article which featured on page number 15 of the Indian Express newspaper. Now Center has recently amended rules under the Foreign Exchange Management Act, that is FEMA, and it has brought international credit card transactions outside India under the Liberalised Remittances scheme, that is LRS. Important events related to foreign exchange and their regulations have been an important theme for UPSC Prelims examination. As in 2013, it has asked a question based on effect on Indian economy due to the changes in nominal effective exchange rate, that is NER, and changes in real effective exchange rate, that is REER. So let's take up today's practice question. Question says, which of the following remittance transactions would be excluded from liberalized remittance scheme of the Reserve Bank of India? Now here is the list of the RBI which enlist the entities which cannot avail the remittance facility, and this include remittance for trading in foreign exchange abroad and remittance for any purpose specifically prohibited under Schedule 1 like purchase of lottery tickets, sweepstakes, proscribed magazines, etc. So now we know that option 2 and 3 are excluded from this scheme. Along with the list of excluded entities, RBI also provided list of purposes for which an individual can avail of foreign exchange facility within the LRS limit of $2,50,000, and it includes maintenance of close relatives abroad. It also includes private visits to any country except Nepal and Bhutan. So as the fourth statement says that private visit to any country across the world is excluded, this statement is also incorrect because there are two exceptions, that is Nepal and Bhutan. So our answer would be B, that is 2, 3 and 4 only. Answer for this PYQ is C, that is 1 and 3 only.